This next speaker is actually one of my team members, and I found him on Twitter. And he just recently had his 1-year anniversary of my company. Aside from being an awesome member of our team, he has only been shot at once and blown up twice, despite rumors to the contrary that there's been a lot more. Everyone, please welcome Nick.
He's right about hiring people. Jared's a great guy to work for. The only problem is he'll take a lot of the work you do and put it in one of his slide decks and take credit for it. So I did want to mention to you, and he did miss out on Snyk. And Snyk is a really nice plugin for Docker. Whenever you're building Docker containers and stuff, from the image itself, it'll automatically scan everything for you and kick out the CVEs that it violates. It's a pretty cool tool. I like to use it myself. So anything I talk about here today is for educational purposes only. Don't break things you're not allowed to break. There's a code with ethical hacking. It's fine if you break it, but if you have permission, that's terrific. You just tell them how to fix it after you break it. If you do not have permission, congratulations. You get to spend time in the federal pen. So just letting you know this stuff is for educational purposes only. And I enjoy speaking in public, but I have a really difficult time not cussing. So I apologize. That's the aircraft mechanic in me. If I do, I want to hear a boo. Like, let's do it right now. Everybody, boo. Come on. Okay, so if I cuss, you do that. You call me out. And I'll keep going, and I'll have to live with it. So the reason why I put this up there is I had to take several hours and compress it to 20 minutes. And so I have this talk. I know you're not supposed to click on strange links from strangers, but if you want, you can run that through VirusTotal first if you like. All it is my GitHub with a PDF of this talk. All the links are there, and I just say if you guys want to go deeper in it, because I want you to. I want to pull you guys into cybersecurity. I think we need more analytic people in cybersecurity, and that's the whole point of this. So that's what we start out with. Everything is hacked. I could yell, we're all going to die, but it makes its point right there. So who am I? Box Swapper. You can find me on Twitter. Also, I just put this talk. It's pinned up there if you want it. I'm an ethical hacker, DEF CON 29 speaker, and so I'm used to a lot of interactions in hacking conferences. When you speak, people interrupt you when you're wrong. They prove you wrong. We're supposed to take several shots before we talk for the first time, but I'm not going to do that here because I want to stay coherent. But if you interrupt me or if you have any questions or if I talk too fast because I'm excited, say, hey, Nick, stop. And I will go over whatever you want me to go over. I have no issue with that, and we all learn something from it. I get to learn my audience better because this is my first time talking to y'all. So I'm an aeronautical pen tester. That came from being an aircraft mechanic. So I came into cybersecurity. I hacked aircraft. CISP testing hopeful. Yeah, I failed it. I'll admit I failed it. 50% pass rate on that test. It's a tough one. I think I did pretty well, but next time I can knock it out of the park. I do like to watch CVE and NVDs. You know how a lot of people watch YouTube? I sit and watch the threads as they come out. It's enjoyable to me. See what's coming out, see what's broken. I call myself a server mechanic. I'm still asking for Jared to give me that on my my card so I can pass out to everyone. I will take that title gladly. And just recently, I became a Kubernetes wrangler. And if you've ever had to deal with Kubernetes, I'm more than happy to call myself a wrangler, especially since they like to call rancher one of the things to use to adjust it. So if you want to see my talk, I talk about hacking aircraft. That link will be right there for you. And this is my first markdown slide deck. So it's going to get weird. So I want to go over the reported trends, the way you can find these reports, the way you can go over this stuff yourself when you need to. And the vulnerabilities that come up because mega corporations got a court. They do what they do. We all understand it's that bottom line. It's getting to the point now where it's becoming more and more dangerous as more and more of our lives become online. And we just got to watch out for some of their practices. I'll show you guys a few toys to break the world. This is the demo part. Yeah, I didn't sacrifice any chickens, so it's probably not going to work. And then I want to go over the corrective actions, ways that you can defend yourself and help yourself in your own life. And then I wanted to introduce you all to Rita. And I'll explain it more when we get there. So we'll go over some basic definitions because you're going to hear these in the future. What is a hack? The best way, and all of these, all of the CVEs, everything, they always follow by the same thing, the CIA triad, not that CIA, not that triad. But it's the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. If any of those are compromised, that's considered a hack. You're done. A DDoS, distributed denial of service attack, that would be a hack because now you lost availability. Just an example. So there's something in the hacker community, nobody wants to be called a skid or a skiddy. It's basically a script kiddie, a person who uses the scripts to attack a vulnerability. They are not talented. They just find the stuff online, pull it down, and they just run it and see what happens. It can get you in a lot of trouble, especially if you don't know what you're doing, especially with some of the tools I'm about to show you. So what is a vulnerability? Because I'll be talking about that. A weakness in a system that can be exploited. So these are the reported trends. These are the links I wanted to tell you about. The Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report, it is like the touchstone for a lot of blue teamers. Whenever we have to present to our bosses, hey, this is the cybersecurity posture we need to take. This is what we need to defend against. This is where everybody goes. It's written by one of the data analytic nerds that y'all know that I just got to meet, Bob Rudis, and it's a beautiful product. It's one of my favorites. We always use that to explain what's going on. The meter CVE is common vulnerabilities and exposures. A lot of the vulnerability scanners are based off of these word lists. You can download a JSON file, build off the word list. IST, NVD, National Vulnerability Database. It's great. I don't like it. And I'll tell you why in a moment. And then, of course, you have the CISA known vulnerabilities and exposures catalog. Is there anybody in here that works for like state level government or does any contracting for state level government? All right. So the CISA known vulnerabilities exposures catalog, you have to follow that. Everything you do has to follow this as of a document that came out 2 years ago. And I'll show you that as well. So the Verizon DBI CURSCSAT in a nutshell. It's from 2008 to present day. It has private and public orgs, and it uses the vocabulary for event recording and incident sharing. And that's how many incidences they've recorded so far. And that's a big bet. That's this year, by the way. That's this report from this year. And I can show you a little bit of the companies that are involved in this. So out of this, these are the companies that contribute. So it's a very large data set. Private and public companies. And this is one of my favorites. I always use the sets from this in order to present what's going on, threat model, in order to build a threat model and defend against. You know, like air gapping your environments. And I wanted to show this to y'all because I think things are getting a little better. We can improve, and this is going to fall on y'all in the audience. So this is over time since it first started, 2017. The great thing is, you see social engineering has gone down, right? That's a great trend. That means we're training, we're not opening emails we're not supposed to open, we're not clicking links we're not supposed to click. The problem I see, you see the basic web application attacks? That's your cross-site scripting. That's your, I literally go to a website, run a few curl commands and a few put commands, and I can get past your web application. So be real careful whenever you're making your Shiny apps and stuff, and maybe even have a pen tester go through and run some checks on it. There's a trend on that because more and more of our lives are going from the tangible, you're holding it in your hand or taking a report to your boss's office, to creating a web app that people log into and look at. And so because of that, there's more code out there. The code has to get out there faster. We've got a rising trend. And I actually have some 0 days for that right now on my laptop, but I'm not going to share those with you. I'm sorry. So, like I said, the meter CVEs, it's the blue team's favorite JSON files. Load into vulnerability scanners nicely. That's how many CVEs as of that date that you see up there, the 27th. That's how many were total recorded. These are all submitted from bug bounties, like just individual hackers that put stuff together. It looks amazing on your resume if you're a hacker and you have actually done a published CVE. The thing is, I wanted to present this to y'all because if you're going through the CVs, the meter CVEs, a lot of these are used in hacking competitions. Whenever we go to a conference, the CTFs consist of multiple CVEs. So that we've got the code out there, we tell people how to hack it, and it's all there, and people are practicing on these. And these are supposed to be low-hanging fruit. As long as you can take care of these in a timely manner, you're going to be good. I will never say 100% not hack because people are clever. Now, this is the one I don't like. There's a reason why I don't like this. I used to work for the DoD as an aircraft mechanic, and then I became a system admin for about 3 years. And I wrote a lot of scripts because I'm a lazy coder. So I wrote scripts to do my job for me. They kicked out products. I followed those products, was able to do everything follow-up. Problem is, NIST doesn't say, well, here's the change coming. Here's the change. What do you think of the change? No, they go, here's the new change. Enjoy. So I had to rewrite my scripts every month. So yeah, I'm not a fan, but this is a very strong model. A lot of government models use this. They just take the database, they build up the defense for it, and actually disable services according to this list. All right, so this one, I really wanted to present to you guys, especially working in state or if you're doing state contracts. So this is the baseline, the known vulnerability exposures. It was established by the Binding Operational Directive of 1902. Not 1902, but year 19-02. So the reason why that was there was the government said, well, we've got a lot of contractors that have vulnerabilities. we need to set a baseline. And they did. The baseline literally sets it up to where if you do not fix these CVEs and they're found in your environment after that date, you can no longer be a contractor. So I wanted to show you guys this because this is live. This is what it looks like right now. We've got a drop down date of the 19th of this month for multiple CVEs. So if you have this stuff in your environment, you just have a cybersecurity person look at these and they can actually go through and run a scan against it, or they could manually do it. But if these aren't taken care of, you can't be in the contract. And you have to do the change management and work everything through for that as well. It got quiet. I gave you bad news, didn't I? So yeah, that's the drop dead date. So this is the one I'm going to do my best not to victim blame. It's very hard not to do. When it comes to cybersecurity, we see hospitals and we see everybody else getting taken, and then they pay off the bounties on this stuff. Not the bounties, sorry. They pay off the ransoms. And it just makes things worse because once that goes public, you've got more and more hackers going into it. And I try not to victim blame, but we always try to say, have better practices, do better. You can do better. Just like it happened, I think it's 7 years ago, where one of the major credit companies got hacked. That was a misconfigured Apache web server. Anybody could have found it. It didn't take a skid. I mean, a skid could have found it easily. And I think that's who did find it and exploit it and then put it all out there. It's very important to try to put it that way. And I understand that companies have to make money, but they're starting to push more and more into danger zone. So and the other thing that I've seen lately is with the features and services behind a paywall. A lot of people think farmers aren't too smart, but once they started making them pay monthly bills to unlock features on their tractors, they learned how to hack. They learned how to program. I met a few of them at a Midwest Wild West Hackin' Fest, and they basically went around and broke everybody's tractors because John Deere was charging them monthly for it. And now Mercedes is trying to do the same thing. BMW does it. Intel is starting to do it on their servers. And I'm like, yeah, you're screwed. You're going to get hacked after a week. It's not going to take any time for somebody to unlock that stuff. I also want to go into the responsible disclosure as a thing. And this is what I'm talking about with the bug bounties. I've mentioned a few of you one-on-one. I do talk about this probably too much because I get excited about this stuff. So bug bounties is basically, I'm a hacker, I'm at home, I find a vulnerability on the website, I do a write-up on what I found, I send you the bug bounty. 5 years ago, people made a lot of money. People could make a living off of it. There were hackers that were literally just living day to day, and they did it, and they did a great job. I have a friend of mine that you can follow his links, and this is a responsible disclosure day because he has already submitted these bug bounties over 180 days ago, and then none of them were approved. He's got denial letter after denial letter, and they all proof of concept worked. So I'm seeing this trend with a lot of my other hacker friends where they're not getting paid. And so when you take a lot of people that are on that edge of being an ethical hacker and going, you know, if I was unethical, I could be a lot richer. And then now the companies are saying, now we're not going to give you that money. We're not going to pay you. So I'm just giving you all the warning to, you know, keep an eye on your stuff. I think things are going to get a little bit worse. Doom, gloom, sorry. So this is what I was saying with the responsible disclosure. Companies aren't paying bugs, and they're not giving out resources to support ethical hackers anymore. We do have a few websites. Those websites, I'm not going to call them out by name. They have also not been standing in the gap for a lot of the hackers. And so that's, for me, those are my friends. It sucks because a lot of them, they just can't make day-to-day work. They're trying to find other means of working. Talented people, but they're not getting paid for the bug bounties. And the companies that they're supposed to be representing them are not doing that anymore. So I also put a link up there by a reputable hacker. This is the guy that I asked, hey, can I release these today? Has enough time lapse? He said, that's fine. And that's what that link is. That's his GitHub. There's a lot of 0 days there. It's a lot of nastiness. I'm not going to run any demos on it because I don't want to break anybody's stuff. So the other issue is IoT is fast and cheap. So when you have the Internet of Things, I like to call it iOS for certain reasons. You can add Internet of, yep. There's a reason for that. It's because people have to release these things fast as they can to beat their competitor. And the problem is you have IO boards left open. You have them hardware wired to not change passwords. You can't change the passwords. And I put up there the exposed port 515 and 9100 because there's a tool called Pred. And these are those are printer ports. And there's a lot of IoT devices that have exposed printer ports. And I was going to do a scan to show you, but it just took too long. And there was just so many. I did a random scan with Nmap, which is perfectly legal, by the way. You can run a passive scan to see what open ports there are on the internet. And the list got too long for me to actually present and export it to a file. So that's how many devices are out there with that open port. And with the PRET, you can actually leverage that vulnerability in your advantage. So toys to break the world. These are some of my favorite toys. They're not the only ones, and they're pretty cool. You got the USB rubber ducky, the Flipper Zero, this thing, the Hack RF, the Wi-Fi Pineapple, and the new one, which is the Shanina. This is software that came out 23 days ago, and I'll go over that. Running out of time. Love it. So the USB rubber ducky looks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. It must be a duck. What this is a small computer on a USB stick. And what it does is it tells your computer, hey, it says, I am a keyboard. And then you run a script and it runs scripts as if you're typing on a keyboard. So you can imagine what that does. It doesn't matter if you have antivirus. It doesn't matter if you have anything else running. It's as if somebody's sitting on your keyboard typing. So if somebody walks by, plugs this in, I'm actually going to do a demo for you real quick because they have it on the Flipper Zero. They actually have this software there. And the way it works is I can just set it up to run a rubber ducky script. If I can see. And I plug it in. And it's going to think, my computer is going to think it's a keyboard. And it's just going to run it. Or it's supposed to. See, this is why I don't like Demo World myself. No, it's all right. It probably is trying to run it on my Linux machine. Yeah, it is. Because like I said, I had other demos for you. Let's try it again. Yeah, there it goes. So this is you see what it's doing. It's running like a keyboard as if somebody's typing. This can do it via USB and then also do it via Bluetooth. So I can connect to your laptop and run some exploits, maybe to set up a web server on your computer and grab your files if I want to. Runs pretty quick. You can also make it to where it doesn't show anything. This is a demo, so obviously we're seeing it, but normally we wouldn't see what's going on. I'm fighting the clock here. I'm laughing at myself. Now, you ever add more to a thing thinking you don't have enough time, that you don't fill it enough? Okay, so that's the Flipper Zero. Hack RF, this is an RF receiver device. It works with software-defined radio. You can receive everything. One thing that I do at home is I like to receive IFF transponder signals from aircraft, and I can track them. Because as they fly over, I'm an aircraft guy, so I like to watch that. You can also pick up pager traffic from emergency services, because that's not encrypted, it's just encoded. So you just plug in and encode and you can read all the pager traffic. You know how many passwords go across that? It's pretty insane. When they're like, how do I get into this? Oh, this is the password. So, you know, be careful what you're sending out and what you're doing with that. The Wi-Fi Pineapple is a Wi-Fi device. I was going to do a demo, but I don't have time. Your phone is constantly sending out beacons and probes. Now with the Wi-Fi Pineapple, so, you know, it sends out a beacon going, well, my home, am I at home? And this goes, yeah, you're at home, connect to me. So me as a hacker, if I'm in the middle of that and you connect to me, I now can perform man-in-the-middle attacks, like give you a fake Google login or whatever. Now I've got your credentials when you log in. So one thing I could tell people in public today, turn your Wi-Fi off when you're not using it. Or I know there's other ways you can set it up to where it'll only turn on Wi-Fi when you're at certain geographical locations. I'm pretty sure Jared turned off his Wi-Fi because he was afraid I was going to do something while I was up here. And this is the new one. I just learned about this. I'm going to try to be quick on it. The Shanina is the automated host exploitation framework. The mission of the project is to fully automate the scanning, vulnerability scanning, analysis, and exploitation using artificial intelligence. It's integrated with Metasploit and Nmap for reporting the attacks, as well as being integrated in an in-house command and control server for exfiltration of data from the environment. Now with Shanina, you just run the code, point it at a server, and if any of those CVEs, public CVEs are open, it'll automatically exploit. This is a skiddy tool. Came out 23 days ago as a proof of concept. Right now, it's a dangerous piece of kit. All right, so I'm going to skip ahead because of where I am. Corrective actions. I tell people to silo their personal identity. Use different email addresses. One for your financial, one for your paying your home stuff, one for your social media accounts, and then like one for your work, and then another one for your family. One of those gets exploits, you only lose that part of your life, and you don't have to correct everything else. Keep your crypto in your freezer. Those of you that have crypto coins, keep them on a lock, not connected to the internet, but on a, like you can put them on a USB stick, you can put them on a freezer. They have different locks to do that. Keep them cold. Keep stuff on your own hardware if you can. I know that's not always possible, but one thing I have at home is instead of buying a Ring doorbell, I built one that whenever somebody comes by, it sends me an email when somebody goes by the door. because I don't want somebody else to have that data. I want to keep that data. Cost me $95 with all the hardware that I had to build it with using a Raspberry Pi. Use a password manager. I have a sticker on here that says my passwords got hacked. I had to change the name of my dog. Don't do that. So Rita is a threat intelligent threat, and this is what I wanted y'all to see, and I wish I'd have gotten to it and talk about it, but it uses your type of math to figure out what a hack looks like in a live beacon environment. And I put the links on my slide because right now it's getting contributed with a bunch of hackers, but I think some data analytics people can really contribute to this project and help out. It's been around for about 2 years. It's named after John Strand's mom. And it was introduced from Black Hills Information Security, and it's always going to be open source and available. It's written in Go. So that's it.